let's move on. Anyone who thought a federal indictment of Donald Trump would somehow derail his campaign isn't paying attention. Despite the former president's legal problems, a spate of new polls show him staying very competitive with President Joe Biden, who is wildly unpopular, with an approval rating around 32%. So considering all this opposition to Biden, why is the Democratic Party machine so intent on just handing him the nomination? Why won't they even consider nominating somebody else? The latest poll from Quinnipiac from after the indictment, after the federal indictment, shows Biden at 48, Trump at 44. A YouGov poll finds the current president at 46 to former president 42. An Emerson College national poll shows Biden and Trump in a statistical tie. Now, to be clear, Trump is also wildly unpopular, with a current approval rating hovering around 33%. But what does it say about Biden that he's basically tied with Trump after two sets of indictments? At least Republicans have a wide array of options. Leland, it does seem that Democrats are, you mentioned the idea of Vice President Kamala Harris being replaced, and I got accused of being a racist for making that suggestion.
So does everybody else, unless you say with Michelle Obama.
No, but you can't suggest that because, that's off the table. But let's even talk about the big guy. Let's talk about Joe Biden. Why does it seem Democrats are so unwilling to even have the discussion about maybe Biden isn't the strongest candidate?
Do you have Gavin Newsom on speed dial?
Yeah. I mean,
look, from the American public's perspective, I have two options, both of which are bitter. And from the Democratic Party's perspective internally, I have two options, both of which are very bitter. A bruising primary fight with Kamala Harris conceivably thinking of herself as the anointed one, which she would, going up against Gavin Newsom, and then maybe you throw in a couple of other wild cards, would be horrible for the Democratic Party. So they care most about holding on to the White House. The easiest way right now to try and do that is by keeping Joe Biden. Now, whether this is one of those situations where you take the easy path, perhaps you could even argue nominating Hillary Clinton in 2016 was the easy path. It seemed like the safe path, and then it doesn't work out. There is the law of unintended consequences in politics, and I think that's what you're seeing in the Democratic Party, and at least a realization of that. I'll end with this, because there is this willingness now to allow the rise of Gavin Newsom. And even Joe Biden appears now to sort of be embracing Gavin Newsom, the prize fighter. And I wonder why that is now, a year until the convention?
John?
I think Leland's right. I do think that if the Democratic
Party... We got all
the
way through the show, and finally...
I think you're right about that. Tons of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that the Democratic Party is looking at the incumbent and thinking about Ted Kennedy in 1980 and how good that worked out for everybody. And look, they're not going to stop anyone. If Cory Booker or Gavin Newsom wanted to jump in, they'd jump in. But
I think they're not going to stop anybody. They've said there's going to be no debates. They've moved the primary to South Carolina as the first primary in the country, so that they know Joe Biden will win.
But who should jump in? I mean, if Booker wanted to, if Newsom wanted to jump in, they could jump in and force a debate. They could do it.
When you say wanted to, there's enormous pressure on them not to.
Ted Kennedy did against Jimmy Carter in 1980, and that's what's guiding the Democratic Party horror.
But the pressure from the Democratic Party is saying no one else can come in right now. This is the guy, because they're worried it could be worse, right?
Yeah.
But you look at the numbers, and you look at where Joe Biden is, and it just seems to me that, and by the way, with regard to Kamala Harris, they ought to be thinking long and hard about the ticket, and they don't seem to be willing.
I'm with you. I'm not a Democrat, but the Democrats I know are looking at this ticket, and they're saying, okay, this 80-year-old man, who do we have that's better than him? Who do we have that's given us the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, beat back inflation, brought tech manufacturing back to the states, brought us the lowest child poverty rate in the history of the country in 2021.
And still remains wildly unpopular.
And still unpopular, but the policies are popular, and that's what they're betting. It's going to come down to, do you want the president who needs another defense attorney or the president who needs a nap?
Look, let's just think about it in a slightly different way, okay? In 2015, okay, it was going to be Jeb Bush as the runaway favorite for the Republicans versus Hillary Clinton. In 2019, you could have gotten, 20-to-1 odds on Joe Biden being the nominee? So putting up these polls, as much fun as it is, as much as we enjoy doing it, you're really talking about one of many possibilities.
All right. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.